guys, and excited about the start of the year and see all your faces. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys around State Farm Center and following our program. So really excited about the year and where we're at, and more importantly where we're going. And that's the most important thing for us is the vision of where we're going to get to.
Hold up for question.
Fire away.
Like when you try to look at what you wanted to see from this program, the biggest area of growth you wanted to see since you kind of came in to where you're at now, what's kind of the emphasis that you've had this offseason and trying to get them to grow to where you want to get to?
Yeah, with a brand new team, you know, we have 5 from last year's team, and then everyone else is new, and we have transfers in there. Really, the biggest thing for us is instilling our culture and our expectations and our standards of every single day, what it takes to be elite and to have winning ways. So, you know, that from team chemistry to getting those relationships and learning each other, but more importantly, just the culture aspect of the expectation of daily, of the work and the intensity and the attention to detail. You know, you can be good, you can be great, and then you can be elite. And in order to be elite, it's really, really hard. And that's every single day, your habits. So that's really just trying to instill that culture and develop habits.
Do you feel like you are in that process, and maybe what was the process just getting to this point?
I think we're getting there. Obviously, we're never there. Even, you know, last year with the veteran team that won 26 games, at this time of the year, I didn't feel like we were there, right? But I know we are getting better. We are way further than, you know, you look back to that last day. But it's, again, the consistency of that. You know, we'll have a few good days, and then you have to have and that's really, really hard. Like I said, it's not easy, but that's the expectation. That's the standard. So just the consistency level of it through, you know, now that we're into our 20-hour weeks, even a 2-hour practice as opposed to just an hour, and the mental and physical focus and discipline to get them to that level.
What does it mean to have 2 of your former Gate players here to help you kind of have a player voice in what you do?
I think it's huge, right? They understand. They know again standards. They know what it takes to win. They know what I'm about. They know, you know, my good and my bad days, and they can try to help our players. And hey, no, this is what coach means. This is how we do things. This is, you know, the culture that we want. So when you take over a program and you're trying to establish an entirely new culture, I think it's always key to have some players. So it's not just coaches always saying this how we do stuff. You have 2 players that have been there, done it, and have won and know what it takes. So I think that's been super, super beneficial and helped us in the transition a little bit smoother.
How much clarity do you have on roles for your players right now on the court, positionally, and just how you're going to operate the scheme?
Yeah, I think it's every day gets clearer. You know, it's getting clearer and clearer, and I think you're starting to get into, you know, we're a couple weeks out and we have a scrimmage, so it's going to get real clear real quick. And I just told our staff yesterday, this is when stuff starts to get real a little bit. You know, roles are starting to be determined. So in my mind, I have that in terms of a lot of the players, but then a lot of it's just, you know, some of the younger guys. How are they gonna develop? How quickly are they gonna catch on? But I think, you know, the 5, 6, 7, 8, like I feel, you know, I'm comfortable with who's gonna play a majority and who we're gonna need to play a lot of minutes this year.
Coach, what's Camille's status right now? Is she back full go? Or?
Yes. She's actually full go as of recently, so she's working her way back, and you know, every day it's just going to be a process with her.
What's your philosophy like as far as, like, you know, your system versus the type of players you have? So do you adjust, or do you play to the style of players that you have?
Great question, and I think we're pretty fortunate that we have players that can fit how we want to play. Now the depth part is going to be obviously an issue. That's the number one thing I see is we got to obviously add depth, but our players they're completely able to play at the pace that we want to play at. Now defensively, they're fully capable. It's, again, getting the mindset of the consistency of defense matters, and if you're not going to defend, you're not going to be on the floor for our team. It's non-negotiable. So I think that, you know, we have some players that fit us, and now it's obviously the recruiting piece is critical in this class, and then, you know, the next 2 classes really.
Is it still too early to tell, or do you know who basically the shot makers are going to be for you? Who's been stepping up in practice?
I mean, you can see that. You can see who is going to have to, get up a lot of shots and score a lot of baskets. I mean, in my system, in my programs, we've always had very balanced scoring. So our best teams, I mean, we never have had a 20-plus point score in my 6 years of being a head coach. It's always been very balanced, and that's just our offensive approach. So we're going to need, 5, 6, 7 guys to all, step up and contribute in scoring, and then more importantly, rebounding.
In today's world of NIL, there's so much difference. What does a new facility like this mean for your program, whether it's day-to-day or recruiting, all of it?
It's huge. I mean, we've now had, literally the past 5 weeks, we've had official visits on, and I'm telling you, when you walk into that building, it matters, and NIL matters. So those things have really, they've helped us a great deal in terms of the facility, and we can sell that because, like I said, right now, for us, we can't sell tradition, and Coach Underwood can sell. He's won 2 Big Ten titles. We can't do that right now. So we have to, we're going to sell in our relationships and our vision, and hopefully the products we've put on the floor, albeit not at this institution, but the success we've had in our style. But then you walk them into Ubben, and you have those resources and the facilities. I mean, we have a kid on campus right now, and being recruited by all Big Ten schools, and she's blown away, and her family's blown away by that facility. So it's a game changer, and it's helped us tremendously so far.
I guess with the roster turnover you've had, how much does that maybe force, I guess, some of the transfers have to make an impact, I guess, more quickly because you don't necessarily have the luxury of staying around?
Yeah, if you look at our team, I mean, we have 1 senior, and then we have really 1, junior, senior, whatever you want to, with COVID. So we're young, we're freshmen, and a lot of sophomores in terms of eligibility standards. So our transfers are going to have to play a big role. A lot of our young kids are going to be some of our main guys playing a ton of minutes. So with that is going to be some learning curve and some bumps in the road, but they're talented and they're able to do it. Just some of them are going to have to learn. But yeah, the transfers, it's key. They're going to have to come in and play. And we'll continue to look at transfers as we recruit, this year and years to come.
It's such a young team. Are there any more or less challenges with installing that culture so you're not maybe correcting some things in the past, which you're also kind of new to this?
Yeah, with a young team, there's always more, right? Because they're just young, and I always say they don't know what they don't know. And so that's where I think it does help having a couple players that are familiar with our culture, because they were just freshmen and, a year or 2 ago, and a very veteran in a very established culture. So they were kind of the younger guys being, mentored by our seniors. So now it's roles have flipped. You look at a Makaira, you look at Bren, like Makaira, last year she didn't have to be that leader. Well, now, she has to be. So now she's learned from some great people. She knows what it looks like. And so now she's really stepping into that leadership role. So I just think with youth, it's always tough, and that's more on us as coaches and myself as a leader to, be creative and trying to find ways to teach them and educate them and help them develop as leaders.
How beneficial was it to have most of the players on campus throughout most of the summer and sort of this transition period that you've been talking about?
I mean, that's huge. You have to have that. The more time, the better. Obviously, we've been in 8-hour weeks, and I'm like, we need like 80 hours a day in order to get everything that I want to get in. So we're still not where we want to be in terms of what my normal teams would have in at this point, but it is what it is. I'm never going to sacrifice, being good at something that's just supposed to put a ton of stuff in. So, but the summer was huge, and we made a ton of strides. More importantly, just in our chemistry and our togetherness as a team, with everyone being new.
Go back to Camille. When obviously you got here, she probably had choices of whether she wanted to come back. What were your conversations with her? What did it mean to get her to buy in?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, she's a Illinois kid, right? And she chose Illinois. Like my first conversation with her, she said she chose Illinois because she loved the school and she wanted to do something in her home state and be part of the change. So really, she was completely bought into this school and this program. And it's pretty cool to see that. So, hopefully as she gets healthy, she can just continue to make progress and make strides. And that's why it's so great that she's now cleared and able to go and start the process of just getting better every single day.
Is there anything where when you were at Dayton, you made the transition to Illinois, go, okay, that worked there, but that's not going to work here, and I have to be different along with our players?
That's a really good question that no one's asked me yet. And I can't think of anything, no. I think at the end of the day, like how we go about doing stuff and how we recruit and the time we pour into building relationships and recruiting, our style, that transcends, that transfers to wherever you're at. And now I just look at it as a benefit, right? Like at Dayton, we would do all that and they'd be like, Coach, I love you, but my dream's to play in the Big Ten, or my dream's to. So now we kind of have the best of both worlds. We can still do our thing and how we cultivate relationships, but now we have and you have the facilities, you have the conference. So nothing glaring that had to be changed, no. And I may feel differently when we talk next year, but so far, no.
How would you describe your style of play that you like? Is it up tempo? Is it ball pressure? What kind of system?
Yeah, to simplify it, it's very simple. We defend at first. We've been a top 15 team the past 6 years in the nation in defense field goal percentage and defensive rebounding. So we're going to defend, we're going to rebound, and then we're going to run and play fast. And in our Phoenix transition, we're trying to score in 6 seconds or less and really play fast and free in our offense. But that, I tell our team every day, I have to remind them, you can't play fast if you don't get stops. It's hard to play fast out of dead balls. So, but we're not a pressure team. We're gonna get, our stops come from, and how we've been a top 15 team comes from just contesting and making every shot contested and tough and keeping people out of the paint. So very containment based team defense.
When I talked to you the other day, we were talking about attention to detail and how you weren't going to move on to the next skill until they mastered this. How close are you to getting to move on to the skills you wanted to have for the first game?
We're pretty close. I mean, again, our defensive system is not too complex. It's very simple, but yet very hard, right? So simple in concept, but hard in discipline and detail and the effort and intensity you need possession by possession. But then, I'm a man-to-man team, but we always had to put in a zone, and so I haven't gotten to that yet, but I put all this zone in, last year we put all this stuff in, and then I don't want to play it, so I don't know why I even put it in, but, we may have to have it this year, as we didn't have to have it last year because we're not as deep as my teams have been, so we may have to have something, because we can't get in foul trouble at all. And we can't afford any injuries this year, so we're close. We're close. We're not as far off as where we should be.
You were talking about Dayton McIver Cook, really elite player at Dayton for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the transition like for her going to the Big Ten? Is there going to be a transition for her, or is she going to be that level player?
She's that level player, no doubt about it. Now it's going to be a transition because people are going to key in on her. Anyone that's watched her or watched us knows she's going to be our go-to player. She's going to have to take a lot of shots. She's going to have the ball in her hands a lot more. She's going to have to run the point more than she did last year. So obviously people are going to be keyed in. So, it's going to look a little bit different, yeah, but if you look at her stats from last year, all of her big games really came against our Big Ten opponents. The NCAA tournament, all her big games were in some big moments. So no doubt about it, she is a Big Ten player. She could play anywhere in the country, not anywhere in the country, but she had Big Ten Power 5, offers coming out of high school. And when she was in the portal, she had, those options. So she's a great player, but yeah, it'll look different, and it'll take her some time just to get adjusted, I'm sure.
Anything else for Coach?